The following video is brought to you by the guys at the Wrecking and Racing Podcast, a NASCAR podcast made by the fans for the fans. Check them out at www.wreckingandracing.com, facebook.com/wreckingandracing, and Twitter at wreckingandracing. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Saka here, and welcome back to NASCAR Racing 2003 season, and it's the first race of the playoffs here at Las Vegas. It's the old Las Vegas, so you can't really hold it too wide open here, but it should provide some great racing. And on my left, you can see for this playoff field, Brandon in that brand new wreckingandracing.com podcast car, sort of in the vein of Brad Keselowski's Miller Lite, and we are in the Europa Universalis 4 car, lining up first and second. Really good qualifying run. Let's see how it shakes out in the race. And green flag is in the air. Brandon gets a solid launch. We have Kevin Harvick, one of the chase contenders there on the inside, up to fourth gear. Let's roll the top. Now, the track is a pretty single groove racetrack in the turns. You can see us wash up just a little bit, but we might be able to keep the momentum here on the high line, and we do. We stretch Brandon just by a bit there. He looks to the inside, and Harvick under us as well. We've got a mirror full of Kyle Busch, so the chase playoff players are definitely a big part of this. Let's go to the inside, see if we can lead a lap here. I think Brandon led that one. It's a 27-lap race, and we will have to pit for fuel, so we want to split this race right in half. Probably at lap 13 or 14, we'll be coming down for 4 tires and a full tank of fuel. Brandon fighting hard back on the outside. Harvick follows suit to the outside, and it looks like Busch might be trying to look to the inside of Harvick. Now, this isn't the fastest way around with myself and Brandon running side by side, but cars are equal, identical, same setup, same car. It all comes down to driver skill here, and we're pretty even when it comes to Las Vegas, apparently. He's trying to make that high lane work. We're on the bottom. It gets really loose there on the bottom. We can't get to the throttle as soon as Brandon can. So we basically even out door to door, side by side. If this is what the fans want to see, then we're going to give them their money's worth. We touched the apron just a little bit, got loose, and really loose off the corner right there. Had to let the car settle, putting the power down. The apron is not out of bounds, as Brandon shows us here. We can advance our positions on the apron with no problem. This is not a restrictor plate race. And we'll get a solid run off the turn. We might just settle in here and let Brandon lead some laps. We'll just keep within shouting distance of him. If he makes a mistake, we can pounce. I think we have a better turn 3 and 4. Yeah, we definitely got a better turn 3 and 4 here, getting a good pull on the front stretch. Let's take to the apron. And we're actually starting to gap Harvick just a bit. Now, I don't know if the AI is going to really push hard. I've seen races here where the AI will try to stretch their fuel. I think there's 25 laps in the tank and 27 laps in the total race. So if the tire fall off isn't too bad, the AI might try to stretch it here. But myself and Brandon will take the surefire way of being fast, and that is to keep 4 tires on it at the halfway mark as best we can. Still side by side here. I don't think we've actually ran side by side this long for this often during a race. It's usually a clean pass, and then the leader will get out in front. But we're keeping in touch, keeping right there. A win in this round for either of us will send us to the round of 12 automatically. And this round consists of Las Vegas, Richmond, and the Charlotte Roval. So it's good to get a win out of the way now, just in case the Charlotte Roval proves difficult. Although our bonus points are high enough, I think we started a race to a race and a half ahead each. So we essentially have a mulligan apiece. But if we're running like this at Vegas, I don't think we're going to need it for this particular day. Let's see if we can get a good run here through 3 and 4. Harvick is getting pretty small in that mirror, so we can sort of pace ourselves here, not put ourselves in a bad position. I don't know exactly when lap traffic is going to be a thing, but we are cruising pretty quickly. It's not like we're rolling over. In fact, Brandon's scraping a little bit, washes up out of the groove there. Let's see if we can close the gap just a little bit. I don't think he was able to get to the gas in time. We'll make up a few tenths here on the back stretch, and turn 3 and 4 seems to be our bread and butter. Yeah, it just looks like we're able to hook the white line just a little bit better. That may give us drive off the straighter we can come off that turn. Still within drafting reach, so I don't think he's going to pull away from us too awful much here. Unlike last week at Indianapolis, turns come pretty quickly here at Vegas, so a good turn here and a bad turn there can shake it up more than Indianapolis can. Pretty solid entry there, and indeed the AI cars are pretty much out of the mirror, so it looks like a two-dog race. Now pit stops can shake up if they decide to take 2 tires. They'll make up some time on us for sure, because I think the 4-tire stop is the way to go for us as far as stability and speed are concerned. Yeah, Brandon just keeps washing up. I think the tires might be starting to give up here just a little bit, certainly not like new tires. And I think 4 tires is going to be the way to go. Yeah, Brandon really washing up now. We can make a good turn 3 and 4 here. Really close up onto his rear bumper. Maybe even make a pass for the lead. Let's go ahead and give it a try. We'll be side by side there into turn 1. Brandon right on that quarter panel, trying to pull whatever air he can off of our spoiler. Maybe try to pull us around just a little bit. Side by side once more. Luckily the AI isn't too awful close to us to really present a challenge while we race side by side. He's able to pick up the throttle just a little bit. We had to come off just a little bit, or we would wash up into him there. And the race is indeed ticking by very, very quickly here. Yeah, Brandon's just driving in very hard, and you can sort of see the product of driving into turn 1 a little bit too hard. He's washing up, and there is a lap car out of the windshield, luckily by themselves. We'll probably pit before we get to that lap car so we don't have to fight him. We don't want to waste too much time trying to get around a lap car and then lose the speed coming down pit road when essentially we're within our window. We can just let him go, keep on the lead lap, and get our 4 tires in fuel. Now we wash up the track just a little bit. So we got the lead and we washed up a bit. Brandon may have. It looks like he's starting to struggle with some tire wear there in turns 1 and 2. We'll see if we can catch this lap car and not pass him before we come down pit road, and might as well. Let's just come down pit road this time, get our 4 tires in fuel. There we go, 3,500 in second gear, a quick double downshift, and it looks like the AI cars are staying out on the track. Their best hope is for caution, and Kyle Busch looks like he has passed Kevin Harvick. Since Brandon out-qualified me, he will have stall number 1. We'll be in stall number 2. We'll stop short in our box just a little bit to help him out and see if we can get 4 tires in fuel, boys. Here we go. A little bit of hiccup coming in. I believe we were too far forward just by a micrometer, but Brandon's left tires are going on. There we go, down and away. So we came on pit road first, we're leaving pit road first, and now it's just battling these cars on the outside here that seem to be needing to pit. I don't know exactly how long they're going to stay out, but we want to give them the bottom, because if they come to a complete stop on the bottom to get to pit road, they'll actually slow us down. There's Suarez to the outside. I hope he wasn't intending on pitting, because we didn't let him. The AI is pretty notorious for whenever it's time for them to pit, they will force their way down. Next up is Matt Kenseth here, / Trevor Bayne. Whoever happens to be in the car this week. We should get a good run on the outside here and set sights on Chase Elliott. And we're getting our lap back from all of these guys here. Ideally, we want to pass Kyle Busch on the racetrack before he pits. That way, if the yellow flag were to come out, we could just come back around and get recycled. Since there are no wave arounds here in 2K3, let's get under the 9 and under the 20 of Eric Jones. Should be able to do that on corner entry here, and indeed we do. Ryan Blaney and Jamie McMurray are next up. And they're starting to go a little bit too wide. That's making me a little bit nervous, especially if they are trying to come to pit road together. They're starting to slow up. We'll maintain the second groove. Are they coming down? They are not, so we're going to be pinched on the high lane if we kept in it. We'll get under Blaney, Brandon under us to make it 3 wide, pushing Ryan up the track just a little bit, and Brandon and I will negotiate traffic here. Let's take Hamlin and McMurray 3 wide, see if we can roll the top as best we can. We're clear of Hamlin, right alongside McMurray, and I don't see Brandon. So I'll err on the side of, oh, there was Brandon, almost into the 78. Looks like Truex was trying to pit, and William Byron will pit as well. And there he is. I was going to say, I still don't see Brandon, so somehow we got through those lap cars together, putting fools 3 wide. Let's use what Brandon gives us here. Let's get around the 92. Pretty bad turn 1 and 2 series for us, so let's just settle in. We're essentially right where we were before the caution came out, or before the pit stop started, excuse me. I was thinking the caution was going to come out, but we know we're better than 3 and 4. Let's use that to our advantage over the closing laps and see if we can perhaps catch lap traffic. We might be able to make something out of it. Brandon's still scraping a little bit, but he's able to turn to the middle a little bit. And I don't see any lap cars in front of us, so it's going to be up to the drivers here. And I do feel pretty solid on the exit of 3 and 4. I think we gained on him a little bit, and once we start pulling the draft, we'll be catching him down this front straightaway. Cars are coming off pit road, and it looks like trouble for one of the cars down there. If that's one of the chase contenders, that will be huge. Or I'm sorry, one of the playoff drivers. Looks like they're going to be down on the apron. And that looked to be the 14 of Clint Boyer, and he is in the playoffs. So if no one else has any issues, Boyer stands to lose a lot of points here. Brandon on the outside of Suarez. Let's see if we can get to the inside of Suarez here in turn 1. We'll clear him. We drove a little bit too hard in there to try to clear Suarez. He's fighting back on the bottom, and he actually gets to our inside a bit. Old Suarez thinks he's got a shot at this, doesn't he? Good. Suarez rolls out. It didn't really kill our turn 3 and 4 too awful much. Looks like Clint Boyer will make it down pit road, so no caution. I don't know if he dumped anything on the track or not, but we have a gaggle and wad right in front of us here. So it may come down to lap traffic, as these races tend to do between myself and Brandon. It's who gets through lap traffic the best. At Bristol, it was myself. At Indianapolis, it was Brandon. So it could go either way, especially with them running too wide. Jimmy Johnson looking to make it 3. The track is plenty wide enough for it, but man, that's going to be a little bit interesting here. We can roll a pretty good turn 1 through here. Brandon has to check up a little bit. We washed up. We're driving as hard as we can. Tires are starting to fall off. He looks under the 10 of Almirola. We want to get up there before the door closes on us. And Brandon looking 3 wide to Benedetto, nearly chops his nose off. That should slow him up and reel him back in here. We should be able to get under the 10 fairly easily, and the 38 going 3 wide, utilizing this apron 4 wide. Brandon really packs it in there under the 75. He makes it stick. We're stuck behind the 32. 3 wide in front of us. Let's see if we can get drive off here on the bottom. He's still within shouting distance. We just need to get under Kane. All right, we're under Kane. No, the 72 comes down. Move out of the way. Oh man, the Arctic car would not move out of our way, and Brandon was through them a whole lot better than us. We're going to lose all that ground, and if he clears bush, he is gone. Get out of the way. Oh, Brandon washes up just a bit. Oh, that's the 17 at Stenhouse. I thought that was the M&M's car. So under the 13, we'll see if we can get a pull off Jimmy Johnson here. But Brandon extended his lead just enough through that exchange of lap cars. I guess they never heard of a blue flag. And in fact, in this game, there is no blue flag. So laps ticking down. Brandon has no traffic to worry about. He can go as hard as he needs to. And we still have to get around the 48 and the 17. Of course, they go to chop my nose off. Makes our turn really terrible. Yeah, the lap traffic killed our possible win today. That is for sure. Can't seem to get around him. We'll see if we can hug that second groove. At least get a nose on the 17 so we don't wash up. The white flag is in the air. One more lap to go, and we were a victim of lap traffic today. That is a shame. I would like to see a more heads-up race between myself and Brandon. We have one more set of turns to get it done, 3 and 4. But even as good as we were in this turn, I don't think it's going to be good enough. Bubba would have to really slow down and block Brandon if there was any chance of us catching. Maybe in another lap or two. But it looks like Brandon will take the first win of the playoff round of 16. We will finish in second place. So a pretty good showing. We finished where we started. Now that the race is coming to an end, we'll take a look at the top 10. So there is Brandon taking the victory. Ourself on the outside there will take second. Third place will be, when we come back around to him, wow, third place was a ways away. Kyle Busch will be your third place driver. Fourth place will be Martin Truex Jr. Fifth place will be Kyle Larson. Sixth place, Kevin Harvick. Seventh, Jamie McMurray. Eighth, Brad Keselowski. Ninth, Denny Hamlin. And rounding out your top 10 is Ryan Blaney. Let's take a look and see here at Clint Bowyer. Yes, indeed, he was only able to finish 18 of the laps. So we'll see what happens here. So he's on lap 19 and speeding off of pit road. Clint Bowyer lights it up and lays down the mosquito trail there. And that has got to hurt. And fellow playoff competitor Chase Elliott right behind him. I wonder if Bowyer blowing up hurt Chase's chances. He's in 16th. Doesn't look like a good run for Chase. And man, that is a tough pill to swallow. Well, let's take a look at that lap that myself and Brandon were really side by side, catching the lap cars here of Truex coming down a pit road. So Brandon creeping in to the picture there. Looks like we'll be getting to Ryan Blaney. And he had a really good turn 3 right there, closed up the gap. He'll be side by side, and then here we come down to the line. That's where Brandon gets a nose on us. So 3 wide briefly there, up on the apron. And then this is where we go around Hamlin. What does Brandon do here? So he's under Hamlin, so there's 3 wide there. Then McMurray gets to the middle. We both pick up the throttle, get around McMurray. And then this is William Byron and Truex. Brandon drives it in deep, and then they both decide to slow down for pit road. Brandon nearly clips Truex, and then still side by side coming to the line. As far as racing goes, I think this was the closest between myself and Brandon this year. But let's take a look at the playoff grid as it stands with points calculated. Brandon will clinch a spot in the round of 12. We're 58 points to the good. Bowman is your cutoff driver. Logano 3 back. Kurt Busch just 1 position ahead. Blaney 4. And Clint Bowyer was your big loser. 25 points behind the cutoff now. Going into Richmond, a short track in which Bowyer might do well. But that's going to do it for me. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you for race 2 of round 1 in Richmond. Take care.